You know, the Ducks, Declan, don't get to compete. Oh, and look at that. Jackson Messler's jumping into this, too. So he wasn't on the original start list, Jackson Messler, but Jackson Messler, an Olympic trial finalist, is, I just saw him out on the track there. Maybe he's going to pace.
And they're starting to assume their positions on the track here, Tom. You've got 11 listed on our start list. Messler is pacing.
Yes, Vinny Messler.
About 2,000, about to go 2K to 2,400, so
gotcha.
69 seconds for 400 is what we're expecting out of Messler.
And ironically, Vinny Messler, his brother, will be competing in here as well. Vinny Messler is senior now.
And taking a look at our start list for the men's 3,000-meter steeplechase, we've got Benjamin Bourne of George Fox wearing hip number 1. In hip number 2 from Wichita State, Landon O'Neill. Also running for George Fox with hip number 3 is Nate Hamilton. And hip 4 from Oregon State, George Showers.
Actually, Eastern Oregon.
Or Eastern Oregon, that's right. We're in hip 5 from Wichita State, Cesar Ramirez. Wearing hip 5, also of George Fox, Gavin Grass. As you mentioned, the first Oregon Duck here, Vinny Messler, wearing hip 7 for the Ducks. Representing Harrier Track Club, wearing hip number 8 is Josh Beam. And from Kansas State, hip number 9, Tommy Hazen. And as you mentioned before, Tom, we've got Sergio Del Barrio of Oregon. He's wearing hip number 10. And his teammate wearing hip 11 for the Ducks, Benjamin Balaz.
So a couple interesting things here. So Jackson Messler, who will be setting the pace, you see him right there. He, Olympic trials finalist, a former Duck, former scorer at the Pac-12 championships, 4 years in a row actually to score at the Pac-12 championships. And his parents both were steeplechasers, Rick Messler and Jill Messler. So the Messler family, kind of the first family of steeplechasing, at least in these parts. And as you pointed out, Jackson's supposed to set a pace of about 69 seconds. And really, this should be a battle amongst all 3 Ducks, one would think, but especially among Balaz and Del Barrio. Del Barrio, an 8:39 man. Balaz, an 8:45 man. But Balaz has already run a 3:41.59 1500 this year, so he's in exceptional shape. And he's currently right on Messler's shoulder. Benny Balaz is also a 3:58.94 miler. He was 4th in the Big Ten indoors this year in the 3,000. I believe that was a meet you called, right?
It was. And a really, being able to kind of sharpen that speed in a race, being able to run well over the 3,000-meter flat, really important for an athlete as they try and develop. It's really have to be comfortable at that pace. It's a hard push, and stepping out, adding the barriers into it makes for quite a challenge, but they've kind of gotten into single file line here. They approach the first water jump, lots of congestion, but everybody gets over quite well. And Messler still leading the charge, but Balash and Del Barrio, Messler all right there. Josh Beam and Tommy Hazen, 8:51 and 8:55 personal bests between Hazen and Beam. So if anyone's going to mix it up among the Ducks, it's going to be those two. And starting to see a breakaway. It's really the guys who've run sub-9 so far, Tom, and the guys who haven't.
Yeah, and 69 pace, good pacing there done by Jackson Messler. Tommy Hazen, a senior for Kansas State, 7th in the Big 12s in 2023 and 8th last year. He's a legit guy, currently in 4th, and it's a good grouping to have Balaz, the USATF under 20 champion from 23, Del Barrio, the USATF under 20, or excuse me, the European under 20 champion in 23. By the way, also Sergio Del Barrio at the 2K steeple was the European under 20 champion in 22. And these championships are significant because they show that these guys know how to peak at the right time. And you can see, I'll tell you what, Benny Balaz looks great, sitting right on Messler's shoulder, running well within himself. Del Barrio right there. It looks like it's a little bit more of an effort for Vinny Messler, who is just behind Hazen of Kansas State.
And this time of year, maybe only your second steeple, you don't want to over-race them. Typically a race that is such rhythm-focused and when they get out to Big Ten championships, you'd expect it would go and be a relatively honest pace, at least after a lap or two. People want to make sure they have their space, they can see the barriers, so Messler doing his best. He's got him the last 2 laps, 69 seconds, 68 high. So really what they're asking for here, they're really nailing it. And that's no surprise coming from an athlete of Messler's caliber. And now just starting to be pressured a little bit by Balaz, which is exactly what you want. In the steeple, a lot of athletes like being up there. They want to have that room to run. So Messler running on the outside, providing all the rest of the athletes the opportunity to see the barrier a little better.
So it's 8:40 pace, which would be a very good time so far this early in the season. And you want to take advantage. These conditions are pretty darn good. You want to take advantage. You want to take advantage of the quality of the competition and the fact that you've got somebody that's a world-class steeplechaser doing the work for you here. The fastest time run at the NCAAs this year is 8:22.13, which is hoofing it. Matthew Kosgei of New Mexico. That was done at the Stanford Invitational a couple weeks ago. And they continue to click out 69-second pace, which is, again, Vinny Messler starting to get dropped there a little bit. That is his best 8:56, so that's a little bit quick for him. But if he can hang in there, he's going to get a lifetime best here if he can just hang and not be in no man's land, which is kind of where he is right now. Maybe he can come up to where Hazen is.
One of the hard parts, too, about running a fast steeple, especially early in a collegiate season or midway through a collegiate season, is typically the athletes who could pace them are going to be in the race. Well, this is that unique opportunity where you have someone like Jackson Messler, this is well before he's ready to really ramp up his season as he's moved on from the collegiate ranks. So it kind of lines up well where he's able to help these Ducks to really attack, and there's another 68-second lap, so right on target with what they're trying to do, running 68 highs, and the job that he was asked to do, he's certainly delivering on right now.
And Benny Balaz in second just looks so comfortable. Look at that arm action. Look at his facial expression. So focused, so concentrated. Just looking straight ahead. That arm action the same on every single stride. Del Barrio kind of cruising in behind them, but I really like the way Benny Balaz looks. Del Barrio, I see his head dropping a few times. I think this is taking up more of an effort for him, whereas Benny Balaz just looks so comfortable, so relaxed, so full of himself right now. He looks great.
And you see Messler starting to step off to the side, cheering everyone on, and he's ready to let Balaz go and take it. Del Barrio doing what he can to hang in there. Tommy Hazen starting to see if he can chip away at that lead that Del Barrio's got on him for second. Balaz, Del Barrio, and Hazen, the three are able to see on your screen now. Hazen, that was the first time he really had a departure from the pace everyone else was running. He's about 2 seconds lost on that lap. But now we're starting to see Balaz really separate.
Benny Balaz, his hurdling technique, great leg extension, great snap down off those hurdles. I am so impressed with how he is running this race. Definitely capable, I think, this season of running under 8:30, if not even better. He's just running so well within himself. This is not a hard effort for Benny Balazs, and when he comes by the common start-finish line, he's going to have 1 lap to go. Look at that great jib work, by the way, by a cameraman down there. Just looks so comfortable, so relaxed. Wow, this is a sterling solo effort here by Benny Balazs.
He's approaching his final bell lap. 7:32, 7:31, and I think they were a little hesitant on whether they should ring the bell this time, Tom, but Balazs getting after it. If he's able to keep that pace and just under 8:40, and it seems like he's accelerating.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And as I say, he is going to break 8:40, but he's going to do it easily. He just ran that last lap in 67. A little choppy there, but no problem. Look at him. Look at that face. There is no effort there, no extreme effort there. He looks so relaxed, so comfortable. Terrific arm action, great hurdling technique, and just
and for the
out of central casting.
For the first time, he just gives the slightest bit on that final water barrier. It's Balazs accelerating into the home stretch over the final barrier and continuing to accelerate here. Benny Balazs for the Oregon Ducks. A huge personal best, 8:34.72, number 14 time in the NCAA. Balazs brings home the victory in the Oregon Open. His teammate Sergio Del Barrio, 8:46 for second. And Tommy Hazen of Kansas State in third, 8:48. Vincent Messler charging home in fourth.
And a PR for Hazen. Great job by the senior from Kansas State. Vinny Messler, very close to his lifetime best, if not his lifetime best. That's a great initial outing. But I'm going to tell you right now, Benny Balazs running a 63-second last lap. Look out, collegians. This guy is in superior shape. Following up on that outstanding indoor season, this young man is going to really be a factor outdoors at both the Big Ten championships and the NCAAs. Not the worse for wear, Declan. As soon as he finished, I saw him. Not the worse for wear. Had a lot more left in him.
He certainly did, and on those barriers, it wasn't even until the last 2 water jumps that you even saw his arms break from that perfect arm carriage. A really impressive run from Balazs to make sure not only he ran within himself in the early stages of the race and was able to take a little bit from the rest of the field, but then when it was his time to go, he put it on and there was no turning back. Here's that breakaway move, and then down the final backstretch, Balazs approaching that water jump. And like you said, out of central casting, he takes that last barrier in stride and accelerates through to the finish. Not a bad day's work.
Not at all. And I know that Coach Jerry Schumacher is going to be through the moon with the performance of this young man. And Del Barrio also. Let's not forget Del Barrio, 8:46. That's a decent